I'm Justin.
I'm Jerat.
And we are the Watchers.
And tonight we are watching episode 513 of Breaking Bad, a show that ended 1 year ago. This episode is over a year old. Can you believe that?
Yeah, that makes me feel old.
A lot of things make us feel old at this point. But
Very true.
The thing that's kind of weird with this show is I feel like I quickly accepted that it was over. So it's kind of been out of my mind for a long time now, since I'm trying to get past the other shows and movies and such.
I don't want to talk about it. I think Vince Gilligan's doing Breaking Bad Part 2, where Walter lives and becomes a Amish guy that sells meth.
Well, you do know Stephen Colbert has Vince Gilligan changed up trying to write the next part of the series, right?
Yeah, no, I'm with Stephen Colbert on that.
Yeah, so basically we're going to start with Tohajali. The reason I want to start with this one, I want to just do the last 4 episodes in general because I've got a lot of fluctuating opinions, got a lot of talks about the quality, and again, I kind of want to talk about just things in general that are happening that's supposed to be the biggest part of the show.
And not only that, but the last 4 episodes are they're so iconic. You know, when you watch this show and you watched it all the way through, the last 4 episodes just stand out. And that's really rare that you can point to a show that's been on this long that the episodes just stand out immediately. You can go, oh, this one, and this one. That's really rare for a TV show.
I think we we'll be later on in the discussion. We'll talk about compare and contrast other finales and other last seasons of great TV shows. I feel like with this show, I am a huge fan, and that's the one thing I want to get across is that I'm a huge fan of the show. I have some questionable opinions. I've ranted and all that. And I feel like this is my purge, my post-mortem purge, for me to finally say goodbye to the show.
This is probably one of my favorite shows of all time also. It's definitely right up there.
Even if I change my mind and have that snobby feeling of dude, okay, this show wasn't all that great, whatever, I'm still going to have to say, this show is what got me into watching television. It's going to have the Shawshank Redemption effect with me, where it was the first movie I saw that got me in the movie, so I'm pretty much stuck with having Shawshank in my top 3 of all time.
Yeah, I think Breaking Bad for me was probably the first show that I ever thought, wow, this is better than a movie. Like TV has become to the point of what movies are now.
I immediately said when I started watching this in 2011 that there was no movie better than this. Probably, maybe The Dark Knight, but even then I've changed my opinions on that film slightly. So I don't know if there is a movie better than this. Now, I'm curious, when did you see this before or after you saw The Wire?
After.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No.
You said you saw it when it started its 2nd season?
Yeah. So I'd seen some of The Wire at the time, but I hadn't seen it all. Yeah.
So, pretty far off in opinion. At the time when I saw this, I had a very amateurish feel with television. I was into Community. I was into certain shows, Parks and Rec, but I hadn't gotten into a drama. And that summer I was hearing so much talk about Breaking Bad, and it started season 4, best season of the show, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah, it's right there.
It's going to require a Lincoln Douglas debate to settle that. But anyways, we are about to start Tohajali. And here's something we're going to talk about. We're going to go very loose with the commentary on this show. So
if it strays off, keep listening, because that's what happens.
Well, the other thing is we're not going to be strictly saying everything that there is on the scene.
No.
That's happening, because there's so much we got to talk about. There's so much I want to talk about. And at the same time, I just feel like you don't have to watch the episode with us. I mean, you could, I mean, you'd see some great acting and dialogue and shit. But
great voice work by two awesome guys, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, totally. But you can probably listen to this on your own. So, anyways, we are going to start the commentary right now.
Enjoy.
All right, we got the volume down. I'm going to try to get the captions on working. Beautiful shot, by the way.
Yeah. This is the only show I ever watched it. Yeah, I was like, hey, I can do all this.
Speaking of which,
if I had a multi-million-dollar meth lab.
Yeah, one thing about this, real quick, we just found out is that Michael Slovis is going to be directing an episode of Game of Thrones come next season.
Oh, yes.
And you can tell that he has that know-how of how to make something really stand out.
If they don't cook meth in that episode, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's see. I'm trying to get these captions up, and that's why I'm a little quiet. Yeah, I love a lot of... I immediately thought this was going to be a great episode because at the time, it was like we were shooting a commercial in 2013. I see this tweet that Aaron Paul sends out saying, I just finished episode 513. And he takes a selfie where he's like he had obviously just been crying. His face was red. Maybe you've seen it. Maybe you can Google it. And he goes, I'm just pacing around my room all nervous. And so I knew something was going down in this episode. And I had held that thought on for 8 months until it finally happened.
Yeah, I was pretty excited, needless to say. I never saw the tweet or anything like that, but yeah, once Aaron Paul's talking about it or anything like that, I was just excited in general. I was like, please come back on because the wait was incredibly difficult.
Yeah, the thing about this episode that I think is interesting, I think the previous episode was probably the weakest episode of the 8. And I remember that was the episode that you missed, and I had to tell you what happened.
Yeah, I definitely missed out on that one.
But did you ever wind up seeing it at all?
Actually, I did. I saw it about a week after you told me. I was like, yeah, okay, it was all right. Yeah.
And that was sad too because I actually had a bunch of friends at my house. Now, each episode during this run, I had friends. We were always hanging out somewhere. Had our custom-made Breaking Bad glasses, which I'm kind of pissed now that I forgot to bring them out for tonight.
Damn it!
And they're in the closet, but I might get them later. But we always had a party. The first and last episode, we dressed up. We were at either my place here, my place at home, my friend's place. Then in the finale, we wound up at a lady who had a nice looking theater, and we were just all dead. It was like an actual movie experience, and we actually sat in beanbag chairs watching it. And I think I had a picture of it too.
Oh, nice!
We were going all out.
Where was I on that one? Why wasn't I invited?
I think you.
Oh, the hesitation there? Yeah.
Yeah, I think you were watching Breaking Bad or something, so I couldn't call you.
It's true.
So I remember. I think I may have invited you, and I don't remember.
I don't know. I probably had a real crappy excuse.
Because I remember because after that we saw The Talking Dead and all that. We went all out. Unfortunately, and we were also dressed up too, and we kind of had crappy luck because my friend's car broke down on the way to the finale.
Oh.
And his car had then left out in the middle of Highway 20, Interstate 20. And so we just had to just all 5 of us wound up cramped up in this one tiny car.
Nice.
We were not expecting to have that.
So can I point out here that Todd was in Friday Night Lights, and he was the nicest, sweetest person in the entire world. And then when I saw him on this show, I was like, wow, I really hope Todd dies really soon because he's a horrible, horrible person.
I always envisioned Todd having a graphic death. I was expecting something and by the way, we're spoiling everything Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah, if you haven't watched this to this point, you should just turn it off and go watch the series right now.
Yeah. I mean, well, even then, it's if you're not watching the series, you obviously don't like it, so... And obviously you would not be listening to this, so there's a whole paradox. So
There you go.
I was expecting like Jesse to like have his head stomped in or something. Like or at least that's what I was hoping.
I just wanted to I wanted him to gouge Todd's eyes out. I really didn't mind Todd until he shot the kid.
Yeah.
In the few episodes before, and then
this was awesome. I remember just laughing hysterically at him rubbing Lydia's nose.
Todd's creepy. He's
got Freddy Krueger's outfit on too.
Freaking neo-Nazi.
Well, that's the funny thing is he's the least Nazi-ish of the group.
Oh, definitely.
Like I think
if you saw him on the streets, like as his right now, you would not think neo-Nazi. You'd be like, oh look, there goes a real nice guy who used to play high school football.
Yeah, and it's I almost want to say he's the, I guess, sort of the Joffrey of the show, but at the same time, he was not annoying like Joffrey. He's actually very polite and would hold the door open and would honestly apologize before killing you.
Yeah, he's pretty much the worst person in the entire world. No, never mind. I was going to say I'd rather see Joffrey die or him die over Joffrey, but no, definitely not.
Well, they both died the same way. Well, I guess that was a spoiler.
Oops.
Oh, well. But the thing about Todd is I was not expecting that type of a character, because I was always, when he started appearing, I was always curious as to what to really think of this guy.
That's credit to, I think, Vince Gilligan right there, is because, when he writes this, he's not writing like 5 episodes ahead. He's just writing on what he's feeling that episode. So when he first introduced Todd, you were like, oh, okay, he's just going to be there to help him. And then 10 episodes later, you're like, wow, this guy's a total piece of shit.
Now, there are 2 other points I want to bring up about Jesse Plemons and Todd. Todd, it feels like, was written to be sort of the replacement Jesse, and I think that's pretty obvious. But the thing I started noticing about Todd, I think he's sort of the fan that's so obsessive with Walter and sort of brown-noses him to a fault. That justifies everything that Walter does in the way that Todd justifies killing a little boy. Yeah,
he absolutely idolizes Walt. To the point of where, he's like, no, I don't want to, cook for, I don't want to make money, just let me get this right and stuff. And you're like, wow, he's the opposite of Jesse. Because Jesse, the first batch he makes, he's like, where's my money, bitch?
Yeah. The other thing I noted, the funny thing about Jesse Plemons is, did you see his audition?
I did not.
The funny thing about his audition is that they wrote an entire scene of him like being like someone in the military who had justified killing like a woman or something, or killing someone who was trying to attack a woman in that he thought. So, there was sort of confusion. Like he was I think he said that he was disappointed when he found out he wasn't an ex-Marine or something. But yeah, they wrote an entire scene just to like keep spoilers from coming out.
Wow.
For him killing the boy. So here we are with what was the crux of this season. And I gotta, real quick, before we move on, I want to say, I feel like this episode was the last of the Breaking Bad episodes that was that high octane, nonstop energy, just moving beat after beat after beat. Because the next 3 episodes are very more down and very more sad, and more just, it doesn't have that sort of intense feeling, and that's pretty much a credit to Michelle McClaren, obviously. So, what do you think of this episode?
I think this episode's great. Actually, I'm going to be honest. The first time I saw it, I was watching it, and I was like, wow, this episode's incredibly boring until the last 5 minutes. And then I went, wow, that episode was amazing. And then I went, wait, was the whole episode like that? Or was it just the last 5 minutes? I went, no, never mind. The whole episode was like that.
No, it's like I mentioned with Michelle McClaren earlier. Actually, I don't even know if I did mention her earlier. She has that eye just to really keep the tension going. And this was the perfect episode for her to bow out on, because I honestly do not see her style meshing with the upcoming episodes.
Yeah.
So this was like, and she got so much acclaim from this episode. I remember like everyone all across the internet was like trying to get an interview with her because of how well her direction was, especially when you get to the final minutes of this show.
By the way, side note, best character in this series right here, Huell. Not on the screen enough.
Yeah, well, he takes up a lot of the screen. So.
Yeah, he takes up quite a bit.
One thing about Huell, I'm gonna be I'm devastated because I have a cat that can't breathe properly. I'm devastated that I did not name him Huell.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed. I did not know that until just now, and now you've become less of a friend.
Yeah,
because you did not name the cat Huell.
Well, don't worry, we still got Huell's Rules. That's the real spin-off of Breaking Bad. That true. Better Call Saul's bullshit, yeah. That's a fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's Huell's Rules.
It's intentional. Vince Gilligan is pulling the rug over your eyes. So,
have you seen the meme where it's just like 8 months later and it's just Huell in a room sitting by himself in this room image. Right here? Yeah, I was like, yeah, probably Huell sitting around going, what's going on?
Yeah, I think that's like the best ending. Now, during these commentaries, I'm gonna be referring to a lot of nondescript commenters that annoyed the hell out of me. Now, this one isn't one of those that annoyed me, but he pointed out that he thought this scene was like one of the worst written scenes in the show, or a poorly written scene, because he didn't buy that Huell would crack so easily at the sight of a fake dead body.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now why he did. Because he's stupid.
Yeah, that's the thing. If they did not establish it, then I would have had a problem. And there's another problem with establishing. Like, him right there crying just cracks me up. And that's how he would react. Because he does... In the end, he's one of those innocents that has no idea what the hell he's doing.
Yeah, he's just working for Saul at this point. He's not really doing anything else.
And I gotta say, Lavelle Crawford was just great casting because the look, all of that just makes Huell all the more beloved, I think.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
I'm about to say something that's got some kind of racist. You think you ought to be the spokesperson for Pollos Hermanos or something?
Yeah, of course. Out in California, it's El Pollo Loco. Bam, right there. Huell. Sponsor.
There's actually a place I heard about down in Nashville called Gus's Chicken, and I heard that it's like some of the best fried chicken ever.
That's awesome.
And
I'm totally going to eat there.
And the guy who said that was the guy who got me into Breaking Bad, and he completely blanked on him that there was a place called Gus's Fried Chicken.
Of course you did.
So yeah, and here we have Dean Norris. So I think it probably might be the most underrated actor, full-time actor, I would say.
Not only that, but it's us again. It's a credit to Vince Gilligan because you watch him in the first episode, and you're like, oh, he's just a dumb, stupid jock cop, yeah. And then you get to this point, and you're like, wow, he's really good at his job.
Yeah, I think though.
And you got to give that to Dean Norris though too, that you can see the progression in him with that, that you can see him going from, oh well, I'm the man, to now where he's figuring things out one at a time.
We have not talked about Walter at all, and one of the funniest dynamics.
I'll get to him.
One of the strangest dynamics. Yeah, he's not even been on screen at all in this episode yet. You kind of lose track because it's like my favorite episode. One of my favorite episodes. Walter's not even the main character in it. It's the episode where it's about both Jesse being in the hospital and then the episode where Hank gets shot.
Good one.
Yeah, but this show, the dynamic between Hank and Walter, you kind of have it established that Hank's the bully, Walter's the innocent victim, and then in this season, it's pretty much reversed.
Yeah, definitely.
And the funny thing is, like, the thing that kind of opened my eyes to it was,
speaking of Walter,
was somebody said, take the scene where Hank is in the bedroom with Marie and he has that heartfelt monologue about the world's trying to tell me something and finally I'm able to listen, which is from that episode I mentioned. 1 minute. It was that episode 3-7. And then you take that and you match it with Walter's I Am the One Who Knocks. So it's like that reverse, them kind of having that parallel that one's getting darker, one's becoming more justifying for his actions. The other is starting to realize his actions are all flawed and do not hold the weight that he thought they did.
Yeah, pretty much just nailed it on the head.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things. Like, none of these characters are the same as they were in Season 1. And I will attribute, I think Season 1's a badly written season. When you think... Now, hear me out. I'm not saying Season 1's a failure because I did not think of its flaws at the time when I saw it. But I feel like when I go back, some of the writing, especially with Hank and Marie and Skylar, and even Walt Jr., are all pretty bad. I'll even throw out... I didn't think Jesse was all that inspiring in the first season.
Yeah, I read...
Like, it was all Walter carrying it. It was pretty much a Michael C. Hall situation.
Yeah, I read a thing one time that Gilligan was talking about how after like 4 or 5 episodes that he was just going to kill off Jesse. And then he got so popular that he was like, oh, I'll just keep him around, I guess.
Well, not only that, I guess we can talk about possibilities that were going to happen. Did you know, like, in the very next episode that Season 1 left off of, Gomez was dead?
Huh.
And...
Really?
Yeah. No, they were going to kill Gomez. And I always knew Gomez was meant to die. So that way we can give someone something for Hank to throw his stakes in. And what's weird about it is that they really changed that up later on, because of just because the writing intended for Gomez to be gone alongside with Hank.
Yeah. Can I just say in this scene right here that Uncle Jack is probably the most deplorable piece of shit in the history of TV.
I thought you just said that about Todd.
Oh, well, they're right there, man. I don't know. Uncle Jack's pretty terrible.
You know what I love? When I got my job interview, both of my interviewers were named Jack and Todd. And
of course they were.
Yeah, and then all these months later,
here we are.
Yeah, and yeah. And by the way, I guess we can real quickly just talk about Michael Bowen. He was that actor that showed up in a lot of crap.
Oh, yeah.
And it just now hit me. Okay, I got to bring this up. I have a lot of stuff I want to talk about with Andrea and Brock, and I'll get to it when we get in deeper. But immediately, as soon as I saw Brock on the screen and I saw Walter was going to use Andrea and Brock, I immediately thought, what a dick.
Yeah. He's a pretty big asshole.
I don't know. That was just a little bit too much. I mean... Jesse trying to burn Walter's house down, yeah, but he wasn't trying to hurt anyone. Like, he knew the baby wasn't there, this and that. But these people don't even have anything to do with Jesse's bad activities or anything.
Well, that's because, I mean, that's the type of character Walter is, though. I mean, he's out for him, and really, I mean, he's always claiming that I'm doing this for my family and stuff like that. Walter's out for himself. He doesn't give a shit about anybody else. And you slowly begin to realize that. Because at the beginning of the series, they're like, oh, he's doing this for his family. You know, they don't have any money. He's got a kid on the way. He's got cancer. And then you realize he's just doing it because he doesn't give a shit. Because he cares about himself and his money. That is it.
Now, I do want to bring that up. I was going to bring it up later. But since you brought it up now, that whole him doing it for his family... That changed a long time ago, and everyone was still clinging to that in this season. And it was pretty funny when people were saying, I don't see why Hank is following Walter. Walter did this for his family. Hank's doing this because he's a selfish, ego-driven individual. And I'm just wondering, did you not just watch those other 4 seasons that happened before this?
Yeah.
And the thing that cracked me up is Walter admitted that... he did this for himself long before the finale when he tells Jesse, I'm in the Empire business. Like, as soon as he says that, that just disqualified the whole family argument right there, because he could have taken that money and...
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, like you said, people were holding on to it. I was like, no, he's still doing this for his family.
Man, you will not believe how many arguments I wound up in. And this was back when YouTube did not have a limit on its characters, so... it was like especially frustrating to me. I'm actually going to get more foul as probably in the next couple episodes. I'll probably get more in your face about it, but
we both will. It's all right.
Yeah, but I was on the front lines. You were just hanging out with Dwight Eisenhower.
Yeah, I was hanging back.
And I guess it's a credit that I just let things get to me, and also that I had friends that were always justifying everything Walter did, and to me that was especially annoying. And so I was always in an argument, and I was always having to find a new argument to pull, and I was constantly trying to pull straws just to figure out.
Okay, what do you think about the whole, like, Brock situation? Like obviously he poisoned the kid, and, like, he's seen him one more time before this, I think, and yeah. Brock's just, like, wasn't say a word. Do you think he doesn't say a word because Walter told him not to say anything? Or is he like, that's the man that poisoned me, and if I say anything, he's gonna, hurt me again?
I've always interpreted that as that sort of dog-like instinct, the canine instinct, that something's not right with this man. My pulse is feeling different. Yeah. There's something about him that reminds me of something.
Children's intuition.
Yeah, and it sounds kind of corny, but I never really had anything further than that. Man, I was just so mad at this whole fact that they had to drag them into this. And later when Hank sort of does that, nice try, asshole. Once he does that, I just breathed a sigh of relief, like, oh, thank God, they're not going that route. Phew.
Yeah.
But unfortunately,
yeah,
we'll get to that. And in fact, here it is right now. The Hello Kitty phone. I cannot look at a Hello Kitty logo the same.
No, every time I think of it, I think of meth.
It's just it feels
and people
so
dying, and I'm like, oh no, I can't look at that. And people are like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Hello Kitty is meth.
What do you think? What do you think the Nazis did with the Hello Kitty phone when they pulled it out?
There is absolutely no telling. Neo-Nazis.
Oh God.
Uncle Jack's crazy. Needless to say.
I will say, I remember at the time, my Uncle Jack was not really a character that was all that despised, because some people, I'm not talking about the commoners, I'm talking about people that actually make sense when they talk. They kind of saw that he had some good, a good set of standards of how he carries business. And he kind of had that sort of code of ethics. And I thought, what did you think of the neo-Nazis being the be-all, end-all for the end of the show?
Well, like the first time they're introduced,
they're nothing.
Walter hires them to kill those guys. And I was like, that's probably the only time you'll see the neo-Nazis. And then sure enough, they just come back, and then you realize that these last 4 episodes, you're like, wow, the neo-Nazis are the bad guys now. They've taken Walt and shoved him to the side almost. They're the new kings of New Mexico.
Well, the thing is they always put themselves second to Walter. That's what it always felt like. Now, I did not expect them to become bad guys, and then when they showed them taking out that whole group, Declan's group, kind of made sense. Like, how did I not see them being the ultimate bad guys?
I say that's a credit to Vince Gilligan too, because he introduces them so late, and then the last season you're like, wow, the neo-Nazis are bad guys.
Fuck Vince Gilligan.
Yeah. Oh.
I just feel like I just yelled out the most atheist thing in like a church.
Yeah, it's right up there.
No, he's cool. I would totally shake his hand.
I'd party with him.
And here
Bob Odenkirk, one of the best additions to this cast, I would say.
I guess we can move on, talk more about him when he has his departure a couple episodes from now, since it'll be more relevant. And here we have probably the last happy scene you'll have with RJ Mitty.
Yeah, pretty much. His life is pretty much turned on its fucking head after this.
Now, what did you think of him as an actor? Because I always thought him as a weak link, maybe.
I don't think he's a weak link as far as an actor. I think he's...
Of the show.
Yeah, I think he's a weak link of the show. But the first time I saw this episode, I didn't know that he had cerebral palsy. And I was like, oh, wow. And I was like, he does. He's a pretty good actor for a guy that has that sounds wrong, but he's a pretty good actor for a guy that has cerebral palsy.
Yeah, that is totally wrong.
Well, get used to it.
Yeah. That's what I've always thought of, because he's still a kid. Like, it's not even the fact that he has cerebral palsy, it's just he's a kid.
Yeah. And pretty much after this, after Walt dies, you know what he's going to be doing, right?
He's going to roll in that money that Walter finally found a way to...
Yeah, either that or he's going to be eating breakfast.
Oh, yeah. Here's a thing that you bring up, the eating breakfast. There are certain memes that became popular on the show that I always feel like I had a weird relationship with them. Like, I never really thought they were, like, the funniest parts. Like, Jesse saying bitch or Walt Jr. eating breakfast. One of my favorite memes, though, was, like, it shows Gus saying, if you post another meme about Walt Jr. eating breakfast, I will kill your wife. I will kill your son. I will kill your infant daughter.
There's a real good little thing on College Humor, and what they do is they're like
I may have seen this.
Old school video games, and it's Breaking Bad 16-bit style, and they're like, they go through all the things like Heisenberg and all that, and they're like, meanwhile, they're like Walter Jr. eating breakfast.
Yes, I seen that. I remember seeing that the day it was posted, man.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Here's another thing I guess we can talk about before all the really bad shit happens. Because I was a very clingy fan to the show. You can see around my room, I've got like Breaking Bad paraphernalia all over the place. I got Pollo Hermanos lunch sacks in my drawer. Never used them.
The tailgate bumper, or tailgate sticker too.
That's right. Air freshener. I think I got a Breaking Bad condom somewhere.
Nice. I'm gonna borrow that.
Anyways,
I'll bring it back.
Better not be used. Anyways, real quick, did you think that was staged? Because I didn't even tell what that was when I first saw that.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, they must have staged that somehow.
Halfway through the drive, I said that they staged it.
Yeah, I was like, they must have staged that, because at this point, how in the hell would they know where it was?
Yeah. Anyways, this whole speeding, this whole scene, from here on out, the episode is phenomenal.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's pretty much the halfway point, which is the great thing. The thing I was going to bring up is that sort of fandom to the show. I used to have it a lot where I'm watching everything Breaking Bad related. And that was before it became a hit. And there's a weird part of me that feels like my love for the show dissipated once it got a bigger audience.
Can't be one of those people.
No, well, the thing was, it's not even like I dislike the show more. It's just my fandom was a little bit, dissolved a little. Because the memes I wasn't that big on. And like all my friends, they watch anything that these actors are in. I have a friend... just talked to him the other day. He says he watched Godzilla, and that's not even a movie he would watch, all because Bryan Cranston was heavily marketed. But the other thing, like the same guy, he said, "Man, I just finished season 2 of Under the Dome, and I'm just, how do you like it?" He goes, I don't like it really. Well, then why the hell are you watching it? He goes, well, I just. Gotta see what happens. Like he's just watching it mainly because of Dean Norris.
No, there's no way. I don't care how I don't care how bad a show is or how good a show is. If it turns bad like the second season of Under the Dome did, no. Ain't no way I'm watching it, because that season was terrible.
I heard the first season was terrible. I heard people who actively watched that show just to hate it.
I watched the first season, I was like, it's not bad, and then I watched the second season and went, oh, I feel retarded for watching this now.
I remember everyone was like really high onto this show. High onto that show.
Yeah.
But yeah, they cling to whatever Cranston, Paul, Marie are doing, or Betsy Brandt are doing, And I'm just waiting for that one day when one of my friends comes up and goes, dude, I got tickets to Broadway to see Bryan Cranston as Lyndon Johnson. I'm just waiting for that to happen because I know it will.
Oh, yeah, for certain.
So, yeah, we're in the... So, I kind of dissipated after that. But my love for the actual show itself, it was still there. One thing I've always said, though, real quick, since we're at the big scene, I always wanted, when Walter says, I did all that for you, I killed all those people for you, I really wanted Jesse to say something like, really? So did you kill Mike for me? And I can see why they didn't do it. I'm pretty sure it was bounced around in the writer's room, but I always thought, I just want Jesse to call Walter on doing it, and Walter finally admits it.
Yeah.
It's a nitpick.
Yeah.
It's a nitpick in a great episode. Whereas later on I'll have nitpicks in episodes I didn't like all that much. So
I like how Walt gets out here and he's like, no, don't do it, Jesse. I did all this for you. He's got a gun with him the whole time.
Now I do have to really talk about this scene. Did you think Walter should have known that something was up with Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, how would Jesse know where it is?
Well, yeah, because he tells him the GPS thing.
Yeah.
But there is that point where Walter has to... Oh, okay, well, I'm trying to remember what I was going to say. Because the point I was about to make was actually later. I wonder how when Walter... He doesn't see any shovels, any bulldozers there. When he stopped... And he realized that Jesse was actually tracking him. And I also wonder, how did Walter know Jesse could track him? What device did he think Jesse have that could track a cell phone? Unless it was, used by a policeman, a detective. Yeah. So I feel like that's kind of a flaw in the writing. And yeah, I remember Feinberg. I remember Feinberg, he said that he didn't like the episode as much because he felt some of this drama was a little kind of forced in for the writing. And I will say that's not necessarily my sentiments to this episode. I compliment the episode. I worship the ground it airs on. But I just wonder, maybe Walter would have figured that out sooner. And then realized that was Hank in the truck with him, and he wouldn't have called Jack to kill Hank.
See, this is where Walter messes up right here, because I mean he clearly knows what Jack is capable of, but he's so panicked and so worried about his money.
Yeah.
That's it. That this is the final straw right here. This is what. I mean, this is the end all to be all right here. This is what ends it all.
Yeah, with Walter though, I feel like, I don't think he was ever expecting Jack to be as cruel, maybe, because even I was a little taken aback, because he's always worked with Walter, and Jack always seems to put Walter, and even Todd also, they both put Walter first and before them.
By the way, genius way for coordinates is a lottery ticket.
I gotta say, there was one person I listened to who had no idea how the Nazis could find the coordinates, and I never understood that criticism.
How would they not find the coordinates?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't understand what he was saying, and he would always bring it up, and I wish I could have asked him what was the big deal with that. So now he realizes that it's Jesse alongside Gomez and Hank. And all of this whole silence, and then Hank yelling his name, echoing in the canyons, was all perfect. Like this was just a perfect eliciting of emotion out of you.
Do you think this is stupid for Hank for not calling backup? It's just him and Gomez.
Again,
even if he thinks Walter's coming out there, he knows the type of person that Walter is. He knows that Walter's going to have some form of backup. I mean, right then, when Hank's car's out there, if I'm Hank, I'm like, oh, I'm calling for backup because something's gonna happen.
Just like with Walter, though, there is that sense of tunnel vision. And with Hank, it's more about him wanting to get that victory to finally put to rest his personal demons over the last
I
year
could see
and a
how
half.
he probably doesn't want anybody else out there, that this is his bust, that he did it on his way, his time.
And they established that Hank is a pretty reliable shot, so I can see him sort of having that ego to not want to have something there protecting him. This shot right here, where it's just a close up. I remember my friends were like just commentating on how there's a tear in his eye and all that.
Great shot.
This shot to me just stood in my head as I was sleeping that night. Like, this is a thing that was in my. That's great. It's over, as that shot's there. And here we're pretty much doing like some of the establishing shots that were similar to the pilot episode, I think.
Oh, definitely, yeah. When I first saw the pilot episode, yeah, and I saw this episode, I was like, yeah, there's a lot of similar shots going on.
Now, without them saying it, did you catch that this was the place that they first cooked? Because I didn't. And that the place that Walter ran up was...
when he first buried the Monty out here, I was like, it's like this episode, this area looks familiar. I was like, I was wondering if it was the place that they first cooked.
Now, before we're no longer talking about Hank, I wanted to bring it up earlier, but Hank has, I always imagined Hank was them wanting to insert Vic Mackey from The Shield into this.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because that's immediately what I thought when they introduced Hank. And I remember I love that where I think Walt, I heard an interview with Vince Gilligan where he said that Walter had pantomimed that he may have shot himself and instead just drops it.
Nice.
Yeah, just great stuff. Okay, one thing that's always bugged me about this scene, look at the sky right now.
Mm-hmm.
When they cut to a close-up of Jesse, look at the sky then. It's always stood out, and I've sort of found out on my own. Yeah, I guess it might be a little bit before they get to that, but yeah, right there.
Yeah, it's a little lighter.
Oh no, it's I think there's a bunch of clouds.
Oh yeah. That's what I meant, is it's a little lighter behind him.
Yeah.
It's not as dark looking as it was a second ago.
Yeah. So therefore, Michael Slovis, I take back everything you said. You're a shitty cinematographer.
Yeah, pretty much.
Michelle McClaren can't direct her way out of a
wet paper bag.
Yeah. Man, I remember I was so pissed when I was watching this because my friends would not stop talking. Like I wish if I had the cleverness on the spot at the time, I would have wished I could. Okay, everyone, pause it. Are you done talking? Are you okay? Let's get back.
Okay, shut the fuck up. Let's go.
Yeah, I hate it when people talk while you're watching an episode of Breaking Bad.
Very inconvenient.
Unless it's a commentary track. But yeah, I was, because they were just yelling out, man, Hank and Gomez and Jesse, they're all assholes. That's all they are. They're just a bunch of assholes.
Walter's a piece of shit.
I know. I mean, that's what was getting to me bored. Like, all my friends were dogging, and I'm just like that one guy yelling, shut up, shut up. And, yeah. All this tension with him yelling at Jesse and calling him a coward.
Yeah, he's just over the top mad at Jesse at this point, you know.
I just wish
because he's caught. I mean, he thinks this is it. This is the end. This is the fall of the empire, so to speak.
What did you think of the whole Jesse is a snitch internet campaign?
Oh no, I don't blame him. I was snitched like a bitch too.
Well, it's like
fuck Walter.
Like I said with Hank, did they not see the fucking episodes where Jesse's obviously got problems with how Walter's running his game here?
Yeah.
I was kind of confused why, like, because he obviously needs some sort of help. Walter's not giving it to him. Walter's almost making it seem like he's going to kill him.
And this is Hank's downfall right here. This is ego.
Yeah. Well, ego always seems to be the downfall in the show.
But he's giving him his rights and he's talking to him, do you understand these, blah, blah, blah. When he should just be putting his ass in the car and driving the hell off. Because he should know that Hank's smarter than, he knows how smart Hank is. He's eluded him this far. Yeah. How is he not just leaving right now and going, okay, I'm going to take you to the police station, bye?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you meant Walt, right? How's Walt smart? Walt is smarter than that? Well, I don't know. I will say I bought into it. I mean, I'm pretty sure you did too. Because
I did too, but at the same time, I was like, leave! Hurry up!
He didn't know. Yeah, but
who?
None of those knew. Nobody knew except for the audience because we were all saying, oh crap, they're coming anyway.
Yeah.
And I knew that because of Aaron Paul's tweet. So, and I pretty much said, oh crap, Jesse's dead. And in fact, we were all throwing wagers. Who was going to die in this episode? Hank, Gomez, Jesse.
Oh yeah, at the end of this episode, I was like, there's no way Hank and Gomez, no, they'll find a way out.
And then they managed to live for about, one of them for a couple seconds, the other for a couple minutes.
Yeah, it's very depressing. They're right here. Why do you got to be calling your wife and telling her, just get in the car and go? Yeah.
I feel like I honestly don't know if I blame him because it's just he wants to savor that victory. He wants to tell his wife, hey, I got my demons covered.
I get it. And even I'm watching this episode now, a year later, and I'm still like, get in the car and go.
I love this. He gives the Popeye Doyle wave that he said he wanted to give.
Yeah. I understand him giving the wave and calling the wife and doing all this, but just get in the car and go, man.
Slight criticism I've heard of. Did you think that this was a little bit too telegraphed with him calling the wife?
Yeah.
Like there's a little too much cliche drama.
Yeah, I at this point when he was calling her when I was watching this episode, I was like, oh, this is not going to end good. Because they're on the phone, and he's waving goodbye, and he's talking to her, I'm going to bring him in dead to rights. And I was like, this is just get in the car and go, Hank.
Now, okay, and the other thing we need to talk about that I remember hearing a lot of people complain about is how everyone that's shooting is going in the stormtrooper mode. How they can't shoot worth a damn, and they pretty much destroy their cars. They destroy Hank's car. They almost kill Walter in the process.
They do not care. And I will say to everyone that says anything about that, bad guys in movies or television can't shoot at all. Except for the time when they kill all those guys with headshots.
Yeah, maybe they were on some sort of coke or something.
PCP, Adderall makes you speed up.
They were on They were eating carrots, bio-grade carrots that Gilligan's Island ate.
There you go.
Yeah, but that scene though where they should have fixed something up with that when.
I knew right here when I saw this, I was like, you waited too long, Hank.
Well, it's like back to the point I was making, there should have been a little touch-up because they make all the Declan's crew perfect headshots, except for Declan. And I'm willing to concede that, yeah, that's just a storytelling literary device. And I'm pretty sure every writer is subject to having that, so long as they can keep the drama up pretty well. And which this episode to me has got some of the best drama of the entire series, and this episode was so great. In fact, I was expecting like the 5th episode of an 8-episode lot is usually like one of the best ones. Say like the previous year was the train robbery. True Detective, I think, had that
one long pan shot.
Well, that was the 4th. I'm talking the 5th episode when with the awesome machine gun scene.
Yes.
Which was the best episode. And this one I was really expecting, though I saw this before True Detective, obviously. I was obviously expecting this to be the high point of this final 8. I was not expecting Ryan Johnson to upstage Michelle McClaren at all.
The first time I saw this episode, I was like, oh, well, it's not going to get any better than that.
Yeah.
Little did I know.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in my opinion, in my own little opinion, oh man, this right here.
Yeah. Ugh.
I would
was
wonder
like,
how
run, Hank, run!
There is one little... We were talking about the problems with them shooting the car and not being able to hit them. There is one problem I have. How did they shoot Hank in the leg? Because he's behind the car, and there's a magic bullet theory, like Magneto made them shoot Hank or something.
You know, Hank might have moved at one point, you know, but they never showed it.
Yeah, like him.
I just want to know how they don't hit Walt. That car is riddled in bullet holes. And Hank just comes out without a scratch, really. Or not Hank, excuse me, Walter.
And it's gone. I just remember all of us in the room just like throwing our hands up in the air.
No, wait.
Man,
that can't be the end of the episode.
Because we were just desperate to see one of these two, one of those three, somebody just get taken out. But anyways, that was Tahajali. We will see you for the next episode, Ozymandias. Take care.
See ya.